Welcome to AP Training 2021. Thank you all for helping out with this gigantic task. We are giving 1,200 exams, 26 different subjects over technically 3 weeks. And it takes a lot of work and paying attention to get through all of this. So we're just going to start here. I have a training agenda. The link is in the email. Just the first page here of the training agenda is the breakdown of the instruction manual where you can find everything if you're seeking clarification. So just going through there. If you're given an accommodated test, you and I will have a one-on-one training prior to the exam, and I'll let you know who you are. But there is a packet, I guess a link to a packet. I have it printed out. You don't need to print it out. You can come get one from me, or I'll give it to you when we talk. But like I said, this is the breakdown of the instruction manual for this year. If you have the full book, if not, if you're only giving one exam, I've put in your mailbox the general instructions, the information about administration incidents, and then the instructions to your specific exam. So that will be in your mailbox. So moving down to kind of the logistics here. Students are going to arrive. The morning exam starts at 8. The afternoon exam starts at noon. We cannot start them prior to that time, but we can do general instructions prior to the start time. So students will arrive in the morning at 7:30 and kind of leave their backpacks outside, power their phones off, and put any drinks or snacks on top of the tables and their backpacks underneath the tables. And then you'll get them in their seats approximately 7:40 to 7:50. You can start reading general instructions to the students. And then once 8 o'clock or noon hits exactly, we'd like you to start reading the specific exam instructions as soon as possible. We do know that some people are giving 2 exams in one day, so the start of the second exam might be delayed a little bit, but we're going to do our best to make sure that that doesn't happen. Um, Morning testers will be marked absent from first through fifth periods. Afternoon testers will be marked absent from fifth to seventh period. Afternoon testers will take a lunch and then report to their testing location. Morning testers will eat lunch when they finish and return to sixth period. Like I said already, snacks and drinks can go on top of the tables outside of the rooms, and backpacks will go underneath the tables. That area will be supervised, so students don't need to worry about anything getting taken. Students are not allowed to access their backpacks during testing for any reason, no matter what it is. Once the students have completed their tasks of, getting all organized, you should check them in the room. I've already talked about general instructions should start around the 45-minute mark prior to the start time. Non-compliance from students will not be allowed. We're not accepting misbehavior or talkback or anything like that. Rowdy kids, if they're doing that, you can dismiss them from the room and otherwise contact me. Staffs who are giving 2 tests in one day, you'll get a 30-minute break for lunch in the last section of your morning exam or during the first session after you've read your instructions for the afternoon exam. If there's enough time in between, then the break will happen then for some of the shorter tests. Here's the links here to the AP Coordinator Manual Part 2, which is what I get if you are looking for further clarification on something. If you ask me a question, we're going to go in there and look for the answer. And then another link to the instruction manual. I've also attached it to the email. Like I said, I printed that out for you, though, so you don't need to worry about printing that, but you can always electronically look in there. The beautiful thing about AP is that I don't make any of my own decisions for this exam. Whatever it says in the book is what we're going to do. So if an incident occurs in your room, you're going to look up what the incident is, and we're going to take the action exactly as stated there. Exam start times are listed here. We have to start by 8. We have to start between 8, but we have to start by 9 a.m. or 1 p.m. We can't start after that. If we do, we have to contact College Board. Sometimes things happen, but I don't plan for that to be happening. There's test books, and then there's orange booklets, and there's free response booklets. The exam booklet kind of changes for all subjects. They're going to have an orange book, which is reference materials, and then they'll have a free response book where they put their answers. the proctor scripts have been reflected to show that. It's important for students to understand that they don't write their answers in the orange book, and that information will not be scored. Their answers have to be in the free response book. So when you're monitoring, make sure that students know that. Um, Completing the answer sheet. Um, we have a page of student labels that has all this pre-planned, pre-filled information in the label, but there are still some things that students have to bubble according to the general instructions. One thing too that is kind of new, there's two spots where they have to put labels, one from the test book and one from their APID sheet. If they get put in the wrong spot, it's okay. The exam will still get scored. You don't have to try to tear it off. General instructions. For every single exam that we give, you must read pages 13 to 18. And that's the part you can read prior to the 8 or noon start time. And when students arrive into the rooms, we'll kind of back up here. Prior to them arriving, you can place their AP ID label on their assigned seat so that they can easily find their seat. But we do not put exam books down until it says to pass out exam books in the exam specific instructions. And then moving on to that, individual exam instructions. They tell you exactly what the proctor needs in the room is what you'll pick up when you grab your bin out of the testing room. It tells you the sections of the exams. And then there are some exams that require students to record, and we are using Chromebooks, and it's called the DAC app, which all the teachers should be familiar with. That's why foreign language teachers are giving the opposite foreign language exams. And then I will obviously be in the room for the beginning of recording that if people are nervous about it, but the instructions are very specific. Start times and stop times and snacks. Begin the test on time to allow students to get to their next test if they have one. Pick up your test by 7 so you can kind of get organized. Proctors and room monitors must stay in the testing room during breaks. So the proctors, if you need a break, that should be during your test, and the monitors need to stay in the area as well. If a monitor needs a break, you can contact me and let me know. For calculators, there's a couple of tests that allow calculators. The students bring their own approved calculator. We do have some backups, which I can put in the bin for you if you need them. Also, a student, if they choose not to use a calculator on a calculator allowed exam, they have to fill out a release statement saying that they're refusing to use a calculator. But there's a list of approved calculators that I'll give you the list if you have a test for that. After exam tasks, if a student has another test on the same day, let that student leave and go to their next exam as soon as possible, and they're going to need to bring their APID label sheet with them to their next exam. So you don't have to collect that from a student who has an afternoon exam. You're going to return all label sheets for students who don't have a second exam that day. You're going to ensure that the seating chart is complete. We'll talk about that more in a second. If you have an accommodated room, there's a report called the NAR or the NAR that you're going to fill out. If there were any irregularities or incidents, you'll fill that out as well. That happens the same day, and you'll return all of your exam materials that you checked out. Any sort of incidents that happen, you can refer to page 275 to 284, I believe it is. So if anything happens during an exam, we're going there to look to see what to do. Okay, so talking about the seating chart. The seating chart requires you to put the name of the exam, the room number, and our school code, which is right here, 447043. And then you need to make sure that you're going to do the full name or serial number must be on the seating chart. So it's up to you what you prefer to write. Names are probably easier. The system that we use pre-prints out a seating chart with names, so you're going to have to write for that onto this specific sheet, which you'll get a copy of. And you'll notice something that's new. They ask you to point the arrows in the order of which you distributed exam books here. And whenever you distribute books, it should be in a snake, like that. Okay. And then you can write things on there like where the door is, where the entrance is, where the front board is, anything that they feel is necessary. So that's what a blank one looks like. Um, okay. The seating will already be set up, so you shouldn't have to move any of the seats. Please don't move them either. Um, Students in regular classrooms need to be all facing the same directions and have a 5 feet distance from the center of their desk to the center of the next student's desk to the side and to the front and to the back. That, like I said, those should be set up already, and you should not have to move anything. Along with that, the desks will be labeled with the the number coming off of the seating chart. Uh, this is the example of what it looks like here. The desks will be labeled with these numbers already, and you'll have a list of your students with this number corresponding number next to it. So when they enter the room, you can say you're going to go sit at D3. Johnny, you're going to sit at B5, and their label sheet, APID label sheets, should already be there. Having this all ready to go makes starting the exam on time much easier. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about is reading exam instructions. Like I mentioned earlier, the beauty of this exam is that everything is mapped out exactly for what you need to say and do in your exam instructions. If you're seeking clarification from me about what to do, I'm going to look at the exam instructions. So it's super important that for every exam that you give, that prior to that day, if not sooner, you review the instructions so that you understand, or you can seek clarification, or we can find it together about what exactly you're supposed to do. Um, and if you have any questions, please ask. There will be a Zoom on Friday morning from 6:30 to 7:30 if you want to pop in and ask questions or specific questions to a certain exam or the one you're giving. And I'll be in the testing room. It's just 1265, or you can join live via Zoom. And that's pretty much it. Good luck. And again, thank you very much.